All right, folks, that about wraps it all up. It is now almost the end of April, and as of a few weeks ago, we have finally shipped out all of our PVPie boards to our Kickstarter backers and our pre-orders as well. Because we had such a large turnout, we actually were able to do a few extra things that we weren't initially planning on doing. The main one was doing an additional prototype run. So we ordered another 20 boards of the Rev C, and then we ended up shipping Rev D, which is on here. We also bought a bunch of test equipment, not just the test rigs and test stuff, but also power supplies, batteries, solar panels. So as a part of that, Matt also designed an additional tester PCB that would automate the whole test procedure. And we'd like to thank our PCB sponsor, Avon, who manufactured and assembled our PVPie tester PCB that we utilized throughout our testing procedure. The quality was great and we had no issues. Being able to quickly turn around a design and implement it in our test rig really helped us get things up and running as quickly as possible. So thanks again to Avon for being our PCB sponsor and supporting our project. There were a lot of questions and comments about that whole procedure. The main two questions people had was, why don't you just get the manufacturer to do it? And why do it at all? Why not just send out the boards and just hope for the best? If some fail, then you can just replace them. On the first point, you can get the manufacturer of the actual PCB and assembler to integrate the testing and programming into the actual production pipeline, but there are additional costs to that. You need to provide them with the test platform, the test firmware, as well as the firmware of the board, and that sort of additional costs for a mid to small batch run that we had wasn't really worth it. On to the second point of why do the testing at all. Sure, you could send out the boards and sort of hope for the best. It assumes you know what percentage of boards are going to fail that you're going to have to cover. But really doing the testing, even if we're doing it ourselves, only adds a couple of dollars to the overall cost. It only takes about 30 seconds to do the testing and programming ourselves. And like I said, that kind of assumes you know what the failure rate is, and every sort of manufacturing run, there's going to be slight differences in the PCB manufacturing, slight differences in the assembly, slight differences in the components from the manufacturer as well. Until you produce at a large scale and test at a large scale, some tiny little things that you can easily fix in the design don't really show up until you do that sort of large scale testing. And it's really just not a good look if you're sending out a product and it's failing out in the field. And it's really a short-term mindset to not bother with testing and just send out whatever and hope for the best and replace them if there's any issues. What we're probably going to do in the future is do another pre-order run. So we'll have pre-orders open for like a month, and then we'll collect those, and then we'll put a manufacturing order in, get the boards, and do the whole process over again. All right, so that was just a quick update as to what we've been doing, where we're at, and what I'm planning to do in the future. So thanks again for everyone's support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.